Hey, happy Monday evening, everybody. It is the Texans Collective here on YouTube. We appreciate you all tuning in. It is a quite the Monday night here after a crazy Sunday afternoon.
That's one way to put it.
There is a lot to get into from this game on Sunday, and we appreciate everybody tuning in here on YouTube for Texans Collective. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We always appreciate that. We'll remind you a couple times of that. But, man, we got a lot to get into here as the season teeters on the brink for the Houston Texans. I'm Sean Pendergast, one half of Payne and Pendergast on Sports Radio 610. Morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. alongside Landry Locker of The Locker Room with Landry Locker and Cody Stutes, Houston Football with Cody Stutes. Collectively, the two of them are SNL as well on YouTube. So, guys, let's get into it here. We were really hoping for 4-4 on Sunday. We've got 3-5 right now. We've got a concussed quarterback. We've got a really tough schedule laid out the rest of the way. The football gods have not been kind to the Houston Texans so far in 2025. I think the biggest topic, we'll get into CJ and the concussion and what all that means, but let's dig into the game first. And this offense, which has failed this team in all 5 losses this year. This team has scored 4 offensive touchdowns in the 5 losses for the Texans this year. And a couple of them you could argue are just garbage touchdowns, with whether it's letting Nick Chubb score or Woody Marks scoring with 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the Seattle game. There is zero that's been impressive about this team offensively at all this season in these 5 losses. And Sunday was more of the same. And I don't care that it's Davis Mills in there. There is no excuse for any quarterback, whether it's CJ Stroud, Davis Mills, or the third-string quarterback, getting less than 50 yards in total offense in the second half of a football game after a field goal gets kicked to start off the second half. The last 6 drives all end in punts, and 4 of them were 3-and-outs. Inexcusable.
Yeah, and I think the offense is the same with CJ and Davis Mills. And allow me to explain this. Some people kind of take this a little bit too literal, and they say, well, are you saying Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the offense, the problems on offense are deeper than that. Let's just go through it. We had the visual yesterday. They settled for field goals. They've been settling for field goals all year. They settled for field goals against San Francisco. They don't know how to handle the end of halves. CJ Stroud threw a weird interception where they were somehow rushing in the first half against San Francisco. We saw them blunder the handling of halves. They can't score when they get to the 1 or 2 yard line. CJ did it yesterday. Davis Mills did it yesterday. They don't seem to play the right guys. So we continue to see that. And it seems like the pressure stays the exact same. Davis Mills is missing some throws. We've seen CJ Stroud miss some throws. So I think that the problems for this offense are much deeper than just the quarterback. And that is the real problem. And I think it's going to be the short and long-term issue for DeMeco Ryans. It's going to make or break him, quite frankly, because right now he looks like a guy who, whether it's performance, whether it's evaluation, whether it's coaching, there's a big gap between defense and offense. There's a big gap. And last year they got rid of their offensive coordinator. They brought in a new one, and it looks even worse. So this is going to be what makes or breaks DeMeco Ryans. And they can still get up to 5-5 the next 2 games. I think they're still going to be favored the next 2 games. But the reality is, until they at least make this offense look like at least a wart on the ass of the defense, they're not going anywhere. So that's the reality of the situation in the short and long term. And that's the problem that DeMeco Ryans is going to have to figure out.
The offense is just pathetic. It's not doing a good job of supporting this defense, which is played at an extremely high level. And in the noon slate yesterday, one team scored fewer points than the Houston Texans. That was the Green Bay Packers. You know what they were able to do? Score in the red zone, a touchdown, like a bona fide 6 points at a time touchdown, not 3 points at a time. And oh, by the way, Kaimi Fairbairn, for all the trust you have in him, he just absolutely uncompetitive kick to start the whole thing, which should have been a sign of the times. Okay, but it wasn't. They got me to buy in, and then CJ gets hurt, and then I was like, well, maybe Davis could steward them to this. No, he can't. He was, for all the investment they've made in him to make him and go out of their way to make him the backup quarterback, he didn't look ready for the moment. He looked ready for the situation. And the way Landry talked about the offense is true. They operated CJ Stroud's playbook with Davis Mills. Well, you know what happened? He couldn't operate it. He wasn't good. He missed throws. He didn't operate well. They tried to be aggressive with some of the throws that I'm not sure a guy coming off the bench to be trying to make. It was just an atrocious offensive showing. And Nick Caley did nothing to make things more comfortable and easier for Davis Mills, the backup quarterback. They do not play to the strengths of this team. They overestimate what they believe this team is good at, evidenced by the way the head coach talks about the way that they operate at the 1 yard line when they're trying to get in the end zone. It's just a total mismanagement of the offense. Whatever talent they do have on offense, it gets mismanaged. It's just awful. The headsets failed the helmets yesterday when it came to the offense.
Yeah, it's funny. It's almost like this team, like D'Amico Ryans. There's that meme of Homer Simpson out there where he looks in the mirror at himself, and he's a fat blob, obviously, but he looks in the mirror at himself, and he's got these like gyrating pecs and a shredded washboard ab, and he looks and he's like, that's what this looks like. That's D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caley looking at aspects of this offense. Like, I don't know what they look at in Daria Gumbawale that tells them we need to play him 12 plays a game on offense. I don't know what it is they look at in Jalen Noel and say, we don't need to play this guy. He's only made the only game-changing plays we've had really over the last couple of games offensively, and play that guy. I don't know what it is that they look at offensively with this team that says, you know what we need to do? We really need to just pound this ball right up in between the tackles against the Denver Broncos, one of the best interior defensive lines in the league, and go and try to get a touchdown. And I don't know what it is they look at this offense. After they had 5 punts, they had 3 3-and-outs, a 4-and-out, and a 5-and-out over the course of 5 series that tells them that we're going to line up on our own 13 with a minute 14 left and Denver having 2 timeouts. And we haven't been able to get 50 yards in the half, but we're going to go get 50 yards now to give ourselves the chance at a long field goal. That was malpractice. That was an abomination at the end of the game on Sunday with D'Amico Ryans. And then the explanation to you guys, both after the game and today, that, well, we just want to get a couple quick passes, get the clock moving. Bro, your first down pass was a pass to the sideline in a tight window with Davis Mills throwing it to Christian Kirk, stops the clock. Next pass, Jaden Higgins rolls out of bounds and stops the clock, and then you get an incomplete pass. If you wanted to take that game to overtime, which was, if you're going to win that game, your percentage play was to take that fucker to overtime. It was not to try to go get 50 yards and kick a long field goal. You could have taken that game to overtime by just running the ball twice, empty their timeouts, run the ball a third time, punt the ball, and then they're getting the ball on their side of the 50 with 9 seconds left and no timeouts, not 50 seconds left with 2 timeouts, where they're standing around waiting for the clock to wind down to use one of their timeouts at the end. Like, you set them up to win that game. D'Amico Ryans has had a fucking terrible year as a head coach this year. He has been awful this year in the 5 losses that the Texans have had. This is a coaching issue right now with this team, every bit as much as it is an offensive issue with this team. This team has been poorly coached in terms of just the macro aspect, and this team has been poorly coached in terms of the micro aspect of making decisions in the game. They are 3-5 because of coaching this year more than anything else.
I agree. And this is the other thing to dive into what Sean said. Like, when it was 4th and 1 in the first half, I nudged Cody. I tweeted, I said, kick the field goal. Take the 3 points. They took the 3 points. I thought it was a smart approach. So how do you go from an hour after that, you all of a sudden decide you're going to march 60 yards in a minute and force the game to overtime? It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I'll say this. I asked him about it 2 weeks ago. We saw them run the QB sneak. They're gutless. Like, Nick Caley is gutless. I use that word very loosely, like, because I don't want to like label, like, I don't use the word soft or anything. He's gutless. Whenever they face a good team, or he's just stupid. Like, he's either gutless or stupid, because this is 3 times now they've gotten to the 1 yard line against good teams, and they've completely ignored the QB sneak. And D'Amico today said, well, if I throw it, they say I should run it. No, here's what I would do when I got to the 1 yard line. QB sneak 4 times. And it's crazy that they actually got in with CJ Stroud, but they actually got the penalty. But for whatever reason, when they face a good team, they're scared to QB sneak, but they're not scared to just run full speed right into them. Like it is a gutless, it is a dumb team. And here's my other problem that I have with these guys. I asked D'Amico Ryans today about what's keeping Higgins and Knoll off the field. Like, what is it? Like last year, you drafted Bullock and Lassiter, second round, third round picks. Lassiter was selected 8 picks later than Higgins was this year, and Bullock was selected 1 pick earlier than Knoll was. If those guys were having the impact on the offense that those guys had on the defense, we're not talking about this. Like, this is a good situation. Whether it's coaching, whatever, it would be a good situation. But it goes back to what D'Amico Ryans' biggest issue is. It's that offense, for whatever it is, there's like a clear blind spot with it. And here's my other issue, Sean. And this is where it gets really weird. So let's say that Jalen Knoll doesn't know plays and he doesn't know how to block. What's so hard about saying that? Like, why can't D'Amico come out and say that? I've watched Matt Campbell at Iowa State. I can promise you that if Jalen Knoll was a freshman at Iowa State, sophomore, senior, junior, and he wasn't getting the reps, I promise you Matt Campbell wouldn't have a problem going up there and saying, he's got to be able to block better to where I can trust him first down through fourth down. He's got to be able to know where he's at. And then we have confidence in him. We believe he's going to be a hell of a player. But until he does that, we can't have him out there as much as possible. Now, that's kind of giving D'Amico the benefit of the doubt that they're actually telling him that. If I want to take it at his word, they say they're pleased with what's happening with Nolan Higgins. There's only one player on offense who played less than Knoll yesterday, and that was British Brooks. That's a fullback.
No, they played the same.
Okay, yeah. So nobody played less on offense than Jalen Knoll, and I don't get that. Jaden Higgins, we didn't see. And here's where it gets even weirder. If he's not going to play much on offense, why in the fuck is he not returning kicks? Okay, like. I see what he's capable of. Hell, he stole 3 points with his punt return. And by the way, y'all benched him at punt return 2 weeks ago. But it's not like he's playing a lot of offense. He's playing less offense than he has all season. So he's obviously a good punt returner. He actually got them in position to where they could have scored again, too. The offense just was so pathetic they didn't do it. But if the margin of error is this small, why in the fuck are you not getting the ball in Jalen Knoll's hands on kick return 2 instead of Braxton Berrios? That's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Who's making these decisions? It's not Frank Ross. I'll tell you that. I know that for a fact. It's not Frank Ross. So who's making the decision that we have to see Braxton Berrios return kicks instead of Jalen Knoll? Oh, well, he was an all-pro kick returner. That was in 2021. The rules
2021.
The rules were different. He's had a couple of injuries since then, too. Like, what is going on with Jalen Knoll? Okay, you don't like him on offense. Cool. Why is he not returning kicks? Because one kick return changes this game. Like, if he gets loose just one time, this game's completely changed. They are incompetent. This is an incompetent coaching staff. It's incompetent.
And the hilarious part about not using Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll when you can't move the football is this is an organization that since D'Amico Ryans has arrived has been defined by rookies. C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson won their respective offensive and defensive player of the year trophies their rookie year. Last year, Kamari Lassiter, after spring, was the starting cornerback opposite Derek Stingley. No questions asked. Kalen Bullock took over the starting safety role week 2. No questions asked. This is a team that is defined. I didn't even mention Tank Dell as rookie year. This is a team that's defined by rookies playing like they are already established, worthwhile players. And it's not that Jalen Knoll goes out there and isn't good. Because if he went out there and wasn't good, I'd be like, oh, okay. Like the Dolphins have an offensive lineman who's not good when they put him on the field. I get it. Get him off the field. Jalen Knoll, the 2 games before this game, had 4 explosive receptions in 2 games. Christian Kirk has 1 explosive reception the entire season, and he just absolutely, no questions asked, plays over Jalen Knoll. Like, it is wild that they won't even put the guy on the field, even if they say, oh, like, if he can't do this part of the playbook, go to the part of the playbook he can do. He is one of your most dynamic offensive players.
Here's the other thing I don't get. Like, there's a lot of times we see stuff that maybe is a little bit deeper in the game. Does D'Amico want me to just assume he's always a liar up there, or does he want me to take him at his word? Because he's saying that he's proud with the progression of Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. If that's the case, then you're just incompetent. Like if that's the case, then you're just incompetent. Like if that's the case. Now maybe there's something a little more to it. Maybe Nick Caley gives a little bit more details, but he said the same thing. But if I'm Jalen Noel and I'm sitting there and I asked Jalen about it yesterday and he said that he's not really hearing anything. So maybe he's either paranoid or maybe that's the case. But if I am Jalen Noel and let's say that there's something that I know I'm not doing, and then D'Amico goes up there and says everything's cool, do you really think that's protecting the player, sir? Like that's not protecting the player. That's keeping it real gone wrong. Something's got to give. I know a lot of times there's situations. I think a lot of times in basketball, there's like a guy at the end of the bench. You're like, this guy should play more. I just don't feel like that's the case with Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. Like it just feels like, and then you look at the way that the offense is going, the way that they're performing. It's weird. And the biggest compliment that I can give D'Amico Ryans in this whole rant about the incompetence of his coaching staff is there's not a doubt in my mind that if the equivalent on defense of Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, regardless of what their flaws are and regardless of what their problems are or are not, there's not a doubt in my mind that he would find a way to have these guys as productive football players. There's not a doubt in my mind that he would be able to figure that out.
Well, Landry, that's already confirmed. They're playing Jalen Smith in 3 cornerback sets. Yeah. Like he just got off of injured reserve, and they put him out there as the outside corner and bumped Kamari Lassiter inside and put Petrie back there as sort of like a rover. Like they're already playing a 3rd-round pick who has barely been on the field because he's been hurt. But as soon as he got an opportunity to get out there, they put him right back out there. So your point's already been made. Like they're doing it with Jalen Smith.
Here's the thing, guys. Make no mistake, and we're sitting here talking about this menu right here. Offensive failure is what we're talking about right now.
Other way.
Point the other way.
Oh, on my computer, I'm pointing the right way, and that's all that matters in this moment right here. All right. Okay. So offensive failure right there. Whatever the fuck. I'm just telling you right now. I don't care what way I'm pointing.
You got to execute better.
I don't care. I don't care that I'm channeling the actual Texans offense right now by running the wrong way on this hot take that I'm about to have. But my biggest problem right now is not being 3-5 and figuring out how you get to 5-5. My biggest problem is how do we figure out how to get to a good offense? Because I don't know that this is a 2025 problem. I don't know that the solution is walking through the door this year. I sure as hell don't think it's walking through the door in the next 20 hours or whatever it is until the trade deadline. You talk about the trade deadline, trade for Breece Hall or whatever. Do we really think that this team's going to know how to use Breece Hall if he walks in the door and use him properly when they're using all these other things either improperly or not using them at all? So that's my biggest thing is offensively. How does this thing get fixed for the long term beyond this year? And we all remember back to 2010 when the Texans had really 5 straight years of either subpar or abysmal defense under Gary Kubiak. And then Bob McNair stepped in and said, no. Either you're gone or you're going to hire a CEO of the defense. And they hired Wade Phillips. And I think that's what this team needs right now. D'Amico Ryans not calling plays anymore on the defensive side. I think we all hope that would be a positive thing for the offense. And I don't know if it's because now he's more involved in the offense or if it's just circumstance, but the offense looks worse now in terms of decision-making and execution in critical spots than it did even at the beginning of the year when it was fucking terrible in decision-making and circumstantial spots. So we're heading towards a spot, barring some sort of miraculous turnaround with the offense, and I don't think that's happening in the next couple games because I'm guessing CJ Stroud is going to be out, where we need a CEO of the offense to step in at some point. And that's my big question. Is there anybody at a level higher than Nick Caserio who steps in and says, look, the offense has been anywhere from slightly below average to an abomination since the time that D'Amico Ryans took over. You can be the head coach of this team. You can run the defense. You need somebody who runs the offense the same way Wade Phillips ran the defense in 2011 and 2012. And whether that's Mike McDaniel, if he gets fired by Miami, or whether it's, there are going to be guys that are out there that are competent, way more competent than Nick Caley to run this offense. That's what I'm wondering, if the direction that we're going in right now is that this season is heading rapidly to being a lost season, and you got to find a way to fix this thing, because you got your quarterback. And I don't know if the solution is to fix the offensive line. I don't know if it's spending free agency or use the draft picks on offensive linemen. They have put themselves in a spot right now where they painted themselves into a corner, I think, from a coaching standpoint and an offensive line standpoint. And it's really disturbing. It's really disturbing.
Yeah. And my thing with D'Amico is he comes across as someone who's gotten a little bit arrogant and a little bit kind of, I don't know if he's just paranoid. I don't know if he just doesn't really care, and he has job safety, and regardless, he's going to be the smartest guy in the room. But it really feels like one of the things, the words that he's used this year that I think hopefully he puts to practice, because I am rooting for D'Amico, is evolve. And I think maybe if Bill O'Brien, like if he could have gone back and maybe evolved and figured something out, then maybe things would have been different. But, you butt heads with Rick Smith, and you butt heads with Brian Gaine, and then you just kind of, you feel like you're invincible and there's no consequence and there's really no reason for you to really change, because you got your players and a lot of the players like you and nobody knows anything and all this. Like, This is 2 straight years with 2 coordinators for D'Amico Ryans, and I don't think you're going to get to hire 4, unless something crazy happens where you hire another one, and let's say he's just so awesome that he ends up going and being a head coach. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to hire 4 offensive coordinators. So that's really what he's going to have to figure out. And I think if you ask D'Amico, I got to think that he's got to regret getting rid of Bobby Slowick, because if at the very least this would look better, like right, like the same or better. Like
Bobby didn't have a problem playing rookies. Bobby threw him out there.
Yeah, so I don't know what it would have looked like with Bobby, but now you're going to be on your 3rd coordinator, and the problem is just kind of magnified. So that's really what D'Amico's going to have to do. He's going to have to figure it out. I don't think D'Amico's a crappy coach. I don't think they need to fire D'Amico. I do think if he doesn't figure out what the biggest question mark was when you hired a defensive-minded coach, it's gonna be the end of him. And when you just look at the way that he handles himself and the way that he says stuff and the way he overthinks stuff and all that, it's not like anything personal. Like, I'm not saying anything like about his like everyday life or anything, but he comes across as a blowhard, know-it-all football coach who just doesn't think there's any consequences. And we see those guys get fired every day. It happens after every Saturday. And D'Amico right now is moving, talking, acting like a blowhard football coach who thinks he knows it all, despite the fact there's a clear.
Yeah, they're 8 games into this thing, and the hope for the offensive coordinator, the hope for the offense is non-existent. And even if they go about ways to like fixing it, like my fix for the offense would be a lot more Jalen Noel and a lot more Jaden Higgins. And if that worked, then I would be like, well, why didn't you do that in the first 8 weeks? Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's say they made a change and they gave the offensive coordinating job to somebody else that was in the building, and that guy did good. Then my question would be, well, why didn't you figure that out last year when you had Bobby and there was actually a Super Bowl caliber defense on the field and you could have salvaged that? And why did it take you so long to figure out that guy was worthwhile? Why didn't you just go with him instead of hiring the kid? Like, it's like the solutions also create issues for them, which maybe leads to them not going with those solutions. Like, oh man, if you play a bunch of Jalen Noel and I didn't play him the first 8 weeks, does that blow back on me? Does that look bad? Like, I don't know. It's just very strange that they can't put one of the more dynamic football players on the field more than 11 snaps. And I don't give a damn if he misses a block on a Nico Collins screen. No. I don't give a damn if he doesn't know where to go on every single play. Call the place he knows, throw the football to him, or I don't know, maybe run a swing pass to get him in space, because he makes 4 or 5 guys miss every time he gets the ball in space on special teams. Why can't you do that on offense as well?
I know the exact play you're talking about, Cody. I was doing my rewatch this afternoon of the game, and that play I wrote down, why not have Jalen Noel be on the end of the screen and have Nico Collins blocking on that play? You know what I mean? Like, why not have the guy who's 6'3", 225 blocking on that play?
Have the guy who's 6'3", 225.
And get the guy who's, 5'11" and jitterbug in space. Like I started doing this thing now. We started doing it a few weeks ago. The Seattle game was the genesis of this, but I started doing something where I take all the mistakes that the Texans made from the game, not all of them, but the ones that pop, and put them in buckets of fireable, egregious, and just merely annoying. And that was one of the ones, I don't know what bucket it fell into, but that screen, the screen they ran to Nico, and he got Jalen Noel overwhelmed by three guys that are all bigger than him out on the edge. And I'm like, how about throwing it to Jalen Noel and let Nico figure out the blocking thing? This team just has such an issue on the offensive side of the ball of knowing what they are and self-assessment and all of those things.
Nothing more unaware than the way that they treat these offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Like Nick Caserio, he must have convinced D'Amico Ryans. He went out there and got Walter Jones.
Oh, no, dude. Got
a
bunch of pipe swinging motherfuckers, man.
Yeah. And today there was no today, hey, you've had some trouble with short yardage. What are you changing? And the D'Amico Ryans? Yeah, we got to do something different because what we've been doing hasn't been working. Then he gets asked about it a different way later in the press conference, and he's like, "Well,
knock him over." Yeah,
I just kind of operate from a world of physicality where, you got to go out there and you got to go get that 1 yard. Yeah, you know what I operate with? That's the best front five in football. You probably shouldn't run right into the teeth of them.
Well, I was sitting, as I always do, I'm sitting next to Seth during the games in the press box. And when they're on the goal to go situation that you're talking about, Cody, that was the one where CJ was still in the game and it's 1st and goal at the 1.
Yeah.
And they run it, Nick Chubb up the middle, British Brooks twice up the middle, and then CJ on a QB sneak, which D'Amico claims he got into the end zone. Did he get into the end zone? I have no fucking idea.
It's dubious at best.
Yeah, dubious at best. And so then if he doesn't get in, then Urshery's false start is a blessing, and they got 3 points out of the whole thing. But Seth said, how do you get in a situation where you've got the best defensive player in football in Patrick Surtain, who's out for the game, and then you choose to run 4 straight plays into the teeth of what the remaining strength is for that team? How do you not run 1 play that tries, or 2 plays, whatever, or fucking 4 plays, who cares, that doesn't try to take advantage of the fact that that guy is out of the game? Like the defensive player of the year is out of the, and I understand it's at the 1 yard line and everything's compressed and it's more of a bully ball down there. But how do you not, you got 4 downs. How is there not one where it's like, okay, we got Nico on somebody who's not as good as Nico on the outside, and try to take advantage of that, or run some play action or some misdirection? Dude, in the Baltimore game, they ran a fake toss and then Jalen Noel on the right-hand side. Like, I'm going, oh, look at that. That was crazy. That was good. Nope, just fucking British Brooks banging his head into the wall twice after Nick Chubb does the same thing.
I just don't. It's weird that they function like this on offense and they're well coached on defense. Because here's the other thing that isn't really getting enough attention about as we talk about quarterbacks. Bo Nix sucked.
He's terrible. He's Will Levis.
Bo Nix was 2 for 11 from passes of 20+ yards. And he was 0 of 7 on passes 30+. Yeah, they were literally just throwing it up in the air, and he was closing his eyes, and that's what they were doing. But you know what else they did? What else Sean Payton did? He uses his rookie running back to actually get him design touches.
Yep.
And that's the other thing. We've talked about this. Woody Marks' superpower is catching the football.
That's why they drafted him.
Exactly. And last week I thought was telling, Sean, where everyone talks about, oh, yeah, he had a 50-yard reception. Yeah, he also had 4 catches for 49 yards. So that kind of tells you like how he's just kind of a dump down thing. Like, I know he had 3 targets yesterday. 2 of them were probably at his feet. But like you look at RJ Harvey, there's design passes. They run the wheel route and they get To'o on him. Like it was really just kind of the difference between a competent offensive coordinator and an incompetent offensive coordinator.
Yep.
And it also feels like doing stuff like that is kind of a way to help an offensive line that's not very good. I hate using extension of the run game, but in this case it might be. But you see how Sean Payton uses RJ Harvey, and it's like, okay, he knows that he has a guy who possesses a good ability to catch the ball. The Texans have someone, he's basically just a dump down option, and there's nothing there. It's very maddening. It's very frustrating. And I mean, that was the biggest concern with Kirk coming back, Sean. The word that you used last week was blessing in disguise. And you said, oh, it might have been a blessing in disguise to get the rookies involved. And I mean, you were right. And then as soon as Christian Kirk comes back, they treat him like he's Andre Johnson. Like, hey, everybody sit down. We're going to let Christian Kirk come out here and do what he does. And that's really the problem. I don't know how Nick Caley figures it out. The stuff just seems too familiar from a New England perspective, but it's a terrible operation, and it's so unproportional to what they do on defense.
Yeah, it's been a huge swing and miss on Christian Kirk. Like if this was even some semblance of Jaguars Christian Kirk, like maybe be okay. Well, at least he's a pretty productive player when he does get it's the worst football of his career. It's the first time in his career he hasn't averaged more than 10 yards per reception. Like he's playing the worst football of his career right now, and he's the number 2 receiver by choice. Like he's not the number 2 receiver because a laundry list of other guys got hurt. He's the number 2 receiver by choice. Yeah. You choose to throw him the football, have him run those routes, and he's not a productive or dynamic receiver right now. Like there is nothing this defense wants to see more than Christian Kirk and Nico Collins be on the field together, and then you throw the ball to Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
The opposing defense loves seeing that coming because they know it's not going to get bowled over or broken for he had 1 yard of yak yesterday.
Yeah.
Like,
Nick Caserio's had a bad offseason in terms of spending money on free agency, or in the case of Christian Kirk, hey, here's a 7th round pick and we'll take on the guy's contract. $16 million for Christian Kirk, $14 million for Cam Robinson, however many million it was for CJ Gardner-Johnson. Darrell Taylor hasn't done anything for this team this year.
You're already at $40 million, Sean.
Yeah, you could have taken that and not done journeyman offensive linemen.
What about
what I mean?
What about Nick Neiman for $4 million? And
Nick Neiman for $4 million. Yeah, like it hasn't been.
They're trying to place Jake Hansen, and all of a sudden he got an extension today. Like,
Hansen got an extension.
Yeah. Big news.
Today.
Moves at deadline. Yeah, he got a little extension.
How much? 2 years, $40 million. How much?
After he outlasted Delshon Phillips and Jake Hansen and Nick Neiman, who were brought in to take his job, Jake Hansen got an extension.
Okay. Look, obviously Nick's done a lot of good things, but this offseason with the salary cap and the amount of money, honestly, all that money you spent on those guys, like half of that you could have used on something better than Laken Tomlinson or better than Jake Andrews. And try to build the offensive line in a more permanent fashion. That's been frustrating.
And you know what? If his buddy wasn't the guy running the freaking offense and not putting the rookies on the field, maybe his offseason would look a little better.
With the draft picks being on the field instead of Christian Kirk. Yeah. It's frustrating.
It's so like you mentioned the RJ Harvey thing. Like that's Sean Payton, who is a Super Bowl winning offensive mastermind. He trusts a rookie. You know what else they did? They threw the ball to Pat Bryant, who was the 3rd round draft pick for them. And he got 2 key first downs for them in the second half. You know what? They targeted 9 times yesterday? They targeted their second-year wide receiver, Troy Franklin. It's just the amount that Sean Payton, offensive mastermind, trusted young guys, but because Nick Caserio spent 20 years and Nick Caley spent 8 years or whatever it is, not trusting young guys in New England, and they can't trust them here. It just makes you want to pull your hair out till you look like Pendergast.
Yeah. Yep. Hey.
Oh, that was rude.
Yeah, that was uncalled for. Funny, but uncalled for.
Yeah, but you're not bald by choice.
No, that's true. That is
It's not like
true.
you're choosing to put Christian Kirk out there.
That's true. I am not bald by choice, but I do shave my own head, and I'm 5 days late. But don't worry, I'm going to look amazing by the Jacksonville game on Sunday. We have not talked yet here on the Texans Collective. Hey, before we get to CJ's concussion issue, do we want to tell the people how they can get up on Prize Picks and turn $10 into $20,000, Cody?
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned Prize Picks, even though we had no chance of winning last week because of the silliness that is the offensive situation.
You can if you take less than.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
If you take less thans, you certainly can. This is what Prize Picks looks like. You're really just putting a couple of predictions together, more or less, on various players throughout the course of games. They've got basketball. They've got college football, and then they've got professional football. You can see it right here, just more or less on various players. And then we can take more or less on the Texans and Jaguars game when they get going later in the week. We'll put it up on the YouTube community page here for the Texans Collective. But you're going to sign up at Prize Picks and use our code Texans. And you're going to play your first $5, and then you get $50 bonus instantly right into your account. It's so easy, Sean. I know you've used Prize Picks a ton. And Landry, I know that you can predict more or less as good as anybody on player props. It's so much fun to put together a Prize Pick entry. And we'll put one together and put it on the community page later this week.
Landry's the master. I get texts from Landry right before all the UT games start with what the more thans and the less than should be on all the Longhorns. And on Prize Picks, it's not just pro, it's college as well. You got all those college games on there. And then
Sean died. So when Sean,
it's SNL.
It's now SNL on the Collective. So use that code Texans when you sign up at Prize Picks. Texans is the code. You play your first 5 and you get 50 headed your way right into your account. You don't even have to win your entry, but if you do, then you'll have a lot more headed your way as well. You can turn 5 into plenty with Prize Picks.
This is where we test Cody's ability to like transition smoothly because he's trying to set it up. He was talking a little bit slower there, but he doesn't know where he's going right now. Where are you going?
We're going to talk about CJ Stroud's concussion.
Okay.
I mean, is he going to play this weekend or what?
No, he's out. We know that. You know that. Everybody knows that. Davis Mills is going to be at the podium on Wednesday. And he's going to play. And quite frankly, I think he has a chance to win. And I actually wonder if they might enjoy this time with Davis Mills. I think there's a possibility that they might enjoy this time, this week of preparation with Davis Mills. I think Davis Mills can win games. I think Davis Mills had a chance to win the last game, quite frankly. I know he's the easy target, but I think Davis Mills would have had a chance to. I think CJ Stroud had a chance to lose it, and Davis Mills had a chance to win it. But I think they can win the game with Davis Mills. I think they'll probably adjust accordingly. It'll be interesting to see what they come out and do with the week of prep with Mills.
Well, I can't wait to see a Nick Chubb forward offense with Davis Mills under center. They'll adjust accordingly. Yeah, right.
You guys have me back now? Am I back now?
You're good.
I just want to make sure.
Okay. Yeah, fire away.
Sorry. I had somebody. That's all good. I had somebody call me, and I'm on my iPad, and I just got to get a laptop. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
you can afford it. We see that view.
What did you make of the flag getting picked up, Sean, on CJ Stroud?
With CJ, I honestly wasn't super surprised by it. I know that look, bang, bang. You watch that play from up where the three of us were, up on the 8th floor, and you're like, oh shit, that's Aziz again. Bam, CJ's out. He's fencing. The fingers are doing this kind of thing. The flag comes out, and then you watch the replay of it, and they're like, all right, it's chest to chest. I blame Mahomes for some of this, man. Like the way that Mahomes, you heard me. I blame Mahomes for some of this. The way that he's taken advantage of the sliding or the juke sliding rules to his advantage or whatever. Like the NFL has had to step in and go, all right, guys sliding. And, we need to be a little bit more lenient with the defensive players and give them a little bit more leeway with hitting these guys. That's what happened with CJ. I think the rules are a little bit more. I think the rules this year are a little bit more favorable towards defensive players than they were last year. And the fact of the matter is that Abrams Drain didn't hit CJ in the head or the shoulders. He hit him chest to chest in the whole thing. So I hate that there was no penalty. I hate that the flag got picked up. I hate that it was New York that chimed in and had the flag picked up. But here's where we are. The solution is let's not have any rules for sliding for quarterbacks at all. As soon as they're out of the pocket and they're running, they are normal players. And then they'll make business decisions on their own as to what they should do. The fact of the matter is that we've got all these rules on sliding, and was he sliding? Was he sliding and the guy hit him as he was just going down? Or the fact that we have all this nuance to it and all this judgment from these idiot referees and from the eye in the sky in New York, that's the problem. Just eliminate all the rules about sliding to begin with. As soon as a quarterback chooses to escape the pocket, he's the same as any other player. And if he chooses to get down 5 yards before somebody gets near him, then that's a wise business decision. He's not going to try to squeeze a few extra. And if he does try to squeeze a few extra yards and he gets hit, that's on him. That's how I feel about it.
I don't know that he actually slid, if we're going to be like completely honest with each other. Like, I don't know that was even a slide. Like, if you look at it, like Trevor Lawrence slid late. I don't know that CJ even really slid. He kind of just like fell backwards, like wasn't really doing it. I hate that he got hit. He brought up a couple weeks ago or a week ago that he'd learned to slide this summer or whatever. Shout out guy named Clint. But I don't know that it was even really a slide. I am kind of, I get the Aziz connection because I thought that was a little bit much. Like I don't, D'Amico wants to talk apples to apples. I don't know that this was the same as the Trevor Lawrence play. Like
it wasn't.
Like as much as D'Amico likes to be conveniently simple, or call people conveniently simple whenever they ask questions, I think it's very simplistic to compare this directly to the Aziz play. I don't think they were alike at all. I do get what he's saying with the flags. Like they throw flags on less weekly when it comes to quarterbacks. So I understand that, but I don't think it was at all like that. And it just, he's completely like changed his whole philosophy on it from what he was saying last year in Jacksonville, where I thought he was almost too combative, where it was like the defender's in a tough position and the quarterback slides late and all that. And I don't even know that CJ slid. And now all of a sudden it's like the complete opposite. Like it's actually, I'm glad CJ's okay. Obviously. Yeah. My hope is that this doesn't make him even more hesitant to run, because I think it's a part of his game that he doesn't use consistently. So I hope in the long term, it doesn't make him hesitant to run. I hope he does a better job of protecting himself and looking out for himself. But I did not really think that this was at all similar to what went down last year with the Jags.
No, I didn't think it was like Aziz at all. I didn't. Did CJ need to slide more gracefully? Probably. I still think that the initial flag should have stayed, because I think if you hit a quarterback during their slide in any way, shape, or form.
But what if it's a quarterback slide?
Well, I mean, his ass was headed towards the ground with his feet out in front of him. I don't know how else to describe it.
A plop?
Yeah, well, if quarterbacks slide or plop or flip or flop, then they need to be protected as they're flipping and flopping and sliding and slopping. Okay? So however they get down there, they need to be protected in that way, shape, or form. You're back, Sean. So I think the flag, once it got thrown out of the pocket, it should have stayed. I also don't know what the eye in the sky is allowed or not allowed to come in.
I have no idea. They made up a term yesterday I'd never even heard. It was something about a timeout, something timeout that I didn't even know what the hell that was.
Yeah, the Broncos got a fourth timeout after their timeout was already spent because of an injury. So I don't know. It's just the NFL is just kind of making things up at this point with some of this stuff. CJ missing 1 week or CJ missing 2 weeks?
I think he's missing one, but I don't know. I mean, it's at least one typically with the concussions. So I would say at least one.
Yes, I think he's for sure missing this week, because you just don't see very many guys go into protocol in a game and then they end up clearing protocol, getting the practices, getting all the tests done, and being able to play on. Maybe if this was Monday Night Football, maybe, but it's not. It's a Sunday game at noon, and most of the time guys miss. And certainly with quarterbacks, they're very,
unless you're in college.
Well, unless you're in college.
Unless you're in college, you're good.
They let those guys just go scramble their brains as much as they want.
There was no lawsuit. You'll be back on the field by Saturday. College concussion protocol is much looser than NFL concussion protocol, we've learned.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. So I think he just misses one game, and Davis Mills can beat the Jaguars. Davis Mills can beat the Tennessee Titans if he has to miss the second game.
Is that where we are? I know, Landry, you were a big let's get to 5-5 guy.
Yeah.
Got
to do it.
Yep.
It's going to be a pretty unimpressive 5-5, but it's going to be 5.
Who gives a fuck? Honestly, where are we right now? We're trying to impress the playoff committee. Dude, these 5 losses have been the least impressive one-score games that I've ever been a part of with a team in rooting for them. It's been brutal, man. They've scored 4 offensive touchdowns in the 5 losses that they've had. And one of them, they might have been letting Nick Chubb score. One of them, the Seahawks didn't really give a fuck about letting Woody Marks score. And then the other 2 were Nico Collins making Nico Collins plays. Those are the 4 touchdowns. And Will Anderson, who was a defensive touchdown. But, dude, these 5 losses, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing about it that I think is kind of I think it's a good opportunity for them to win with Davis Mills is, okay, you have your backup quarterback. Am I supposed to cry for you? 2 of your 3 wins are against backup quarterbacks. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Let's even it out a little bit. You're not going to beat a good team for a long time unless you think the Jags are good. So go out there, play some complimentary football, win the game, and maybe that kind of revitalizes things and they feel good. But 5-5 has always been the goal since the 0-3 start. Yeah. That's still in front of them. But I heard D'Amico after the San Francisco's game say, whenever someone goes down, we're not going to go out there and make excuses. Oh, this would be the wrong team to do that against, sir. San Francisco does not want to hear your excuses about injured players. And now, you're going to go with your backup quarterback and you're going to have a chance to win a game. And 2 of your 3 wins have been against backup quarterbacks. That's the other thing about this. You make a case that Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, there hadn't been much of a drop off. I know that's a hot debate in San Francisco, but if Lamar Jackson's playing, if you played the Ravens this week instead of 4 weeks ago, y'all get your ass whooped.
Can you imagine?
Wins. Yeah. Stanley's back. They got their fullback back. They're getting healthier. I think Kyle's back. You, if you face the Ravens the next 4 weeks, because the Ravens' path towards 500 is actually pretty well laid out, then we're talking about a two-win football team right now. So that's the sad reality of where they're at. I still think they can get 5-5. It sucks because this is one of the best Texans defenses of all time, and that's
dude, it's a waste.
It might be
It's a waste. It's a waste. It's deplorable what's going on with this team, given the defense. This is, Landry, you've been here since, for a decade now. And Cody, you're a native Houstonian. I've been covering this team for a long time. This is the best defense that any of us the 3 of us have watched play, right? It's inexcusable how this defense is being wasted right now. And you start to think, it's funny when people think of windows and things like that, they're like, all right, we're going to sign our quarterback to a deal and here's our window to win a championship. That's what I start to think of. All right, are they going to be able to keep the necessary pieces together to keep this defense at the level that it is? Because I don't know when this offense turns into something that is even remotely average enough to compete with the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens and the teams like that in the AFC. I don't see what the light at the end of the tunnel looks like. I know there's a path to that, but I don't know what it looks like right now. So this defense, for the time being, this defense is going to be what this team hangs its hat on this year, hopefully next year, the year after that. I don't know what that looks like. They're going to give Will Anderson a big contract. Daniil Hunter's going to age himself out of being on the other side of him. Stingley's got big money. I'm going to guess Kamari Lassiter is going to get big money someday. Kalen Bullock feels like a guy they want to keep around. They've already paid Petrie to a degree. So there you go. There's your defense. What is this? So is that going to be something? Is that going to be something that looks like what the 2025 defense looks like, which is the best defense in football right now?
Well, the top decision maker in that building is the guy that runs the defense. It's DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah.
What he says goes, and what he wants, he gets. And part of the reason Bobby Slowick isn't here is because I'm sure at the end of last year, DeMeco Ryans walked off the field and felt like, my God, we really squandered what this defense could have done for us in the rest of these playoffs. So he needs to wake up each and every week, each and every day, no less, and say, how do I avoid squandering what this defense is putting out on the field each and every week? And he's got to try and plug and unplug and adjust and change and build as many different things for this offense as he possibly can to make sure you don't waste this, because history will not look fondly upon you and the future will not look fondly upon you if you blow this with this defense playing at this level.
I don't even know about history or anything, but I do find myself, it's weird because we knew that the offense was going to be great on a curve. They had to be bad. A bad offense, we're talking about a winning football team. This is just a god-awful offense. There's a big line between bad and god-awful. Last year's was bad. We might be talking about 2 losses with Bobby Slowick this year, honestly. Yeah. That's not even a compliment. You still got to be better than that. But the other thing is, I've heard Seth touch on this a couple of times. You almost sit there and say, man, the defense should have done this. And oh my God, how did they allow Bo Nix to get that run? And how did they allow Baker Mayfield to spin off on that? And how did they not stop the Rams on 4th and goal? You're almost finding yourself dealing in reality where it's okay, you have a top 3 defense in the league. You almost need them to be like the 85 Bears or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just it's a tough way to evaluate, but it's also the reality of the card that you've been dealt and where they're at.
Yeah. They get graded on a curve. They get graded on a curve because they're so good. All right. So the goal now to get to 5-5. You guys adjusted the. I don't know what the number was that came out this week. It might have been 7.5. I can't remember. Where are you guys at right now in the overall with the Texans right now based on what happened this past weekend?
I fully believe they're getting to 5-5. I don't believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to come to town and beat the Houston Texans. And I don't believe they're going to go on the road to Tennessee, likely with CJ Stroud in tow, and lose to the Tennessee Titans. So I definitely believe they're going to get to 5-5.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go by the standards of the other 3 victories that they have, I'm not going to be able to believe anything that occurs on the offense. They could score 100 points on Sunday. I would not believe that they could do any of those things against the Buffalo Bills when they come to town.
Bills, KC. Yeah, Bills, KC.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. Yeah, right.
Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah. And all these, all the games matter because they're off to a bad start, but you have to beat Jacksonville so that you don't lose the tiebreaker to them in the case that you are thinking about the playoffs in any way, shape, or form. You've got to beat the Tennessee Titans because you can't afford a loss to a team that's as bad as the Tennessee Titans. You might need to beat the Bills because of a tiebreaker situation. You might need to get as many wins as you can against the Indianapolis Colts, regardless of if you're going to have a tiebreaker with them or not, because they're an AFC team and they're a divisional team, because you need a tiebreaker over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
It's all of these games are so intensely important. You have such a small margin for error that you've put yourself in if you're the Texans.
This one, I don't know if the Weasels who sit there and get literal when it comes to must win, I don't know if the Weasels support this, but I think this is a must-win game. Maybe
yes, 100%. 100%.
Be 4 games behind Jacksonville, 9 games into the season. I'm sorry, you can't. I don't care what you think of Jacksonville. 4 games with 8 to play, you can't do that. Not this team. So if you don't beat Jacksonville this week, you look up at the standings. I know you're going to be looking at Chiefs, and it could be the AFC West team. But if you're 4 games behind Jacksonville, if you lose this game, that's a wrap on the season. That's a wrap. If you're talking about the playoffs, that's it.
There are 4 games that you unequivocally have to win this year. I look at 10-7 as sort of the target now that they're 3-5. 10-7, and then let the chips fall where they may. if you're going to get to 10-7, there are 4 games you unequivocally have to win. And this is independent of tiebreakers, but you make a great point, Landry, that if you lose this game to Jacksonville, you're really 4 games back, not 3 games back because of the head-to-head. Great point. You got to beat Jacksonville. And I'm just talking in terms of how you stack up against these teams. You got to beat Jacksonville. You got to beat Tennessee. You got to beat Arizona. You got to beat Las Vegas. You have to win those 4 games. That gets you to 7 wins, which means you've got to win 3 out of 5 against Buffalo,
Kansas City,
the Colts,
and the Chargers.
The Chargers in Los Angeles and Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. You've got to win. You have to win 3 of those games. At some point, all these mistakes that you've made, all these shitty coaching decisions that you made, all these shitty personnel decisions that you made have put you in a position where you have to go win a heavyweight fight against a team that's won multiple divisions, or is 7-2 this year in your own division. Like, you got to go win 3 games against teams that aren't the fucking Ravens with nobody on defense and Cooper Rush at quarterback. They've not won a game that's impressive since Buffalo here in week 5 of last year. They're 7-10 since week 8 of last season. And none of the 7 wins are wins that you could carry into a postseason and say, oh, yeah, I got this. So you put yourself in this position, man. You put yourself in this position, not because you're less talented than all these teams, but because you haven't executed and you've made a bunch of shitty decisions. That's why.
Remember when Bill O'Brien couldn't beat a good quarterback or a good head coach ever? Like, it's just like you're very much – you're teetering into that territory where it's like, yeah, look at Bill. He won all these things. He's like, yeah, he beat Zach Mettenberger and Blake Bortles and Blaine Gabbert. And
hey, Cody, Landry, you want a hot take, though? We got Davis Mills probably playing quarterback at least this week, maybe for a couple of weeks. Who would you trust as your head coach of this football team over the next couple of weeks? Bill O'Brien, who went 2-0 with Case Keenum, 2-0 with TJ Yates, 1-0 with Brandon Weeden back in 2014 or 2015? Or D'Amico Ryans? Would you want the backup QB whisperer?
Well, we have Bill O'Brien. We have poor man's Bill O'Brien and Nick Caley. So
that's poor man's.
D'Amico did win with Case Keenum. Now, he did win with Case Keenum on the road, so I will give him that. But
that was after they jumped Davis Mills in that pecking order to start Case Keenum.
That's true. Yeah, there was a Case. There was a Case Keenum.
So maybe they're going to start Graham Mertz this week.
Hey, that would be sick.
That would be sick.
I got to in more ways than one. I can't emphasize this enough. If you don't beat Jacksonville this week, you're further behind them than you are the Colts.
Yeah.
Or just as far behind them as you are.
0-2. Yeah.
Yes. And that is something that, I mean, that basically
puts a great point.
You're out. Out. So this is a 100% must-win game. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. You have to win. And by the way, Sean, favored.
-3 on the look-ahead line, still -1.5 after CJ got his brain splattered on the NRG turf.
CJ, though, is someone who respects the line. That CJ moves the line 1 point.
That's wild, man. That's wild. All right, boys. Well,
this version of CJ shouldn't be moving the line a whole bunch, to be honest.
Yeah, we're probably right about that. All right, well, we got some Monday Night Football. We got a little Rockets and Mavericks to get to here. We got to jump. We got to bounce. We got to get out of here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I love the way the numbers just keep bumping up and up and up when we sit here on the stream. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Please give us a subscribe and a like and a Prize Picks. Yes, Cody's pointing down there. I'm assuming he's pointing at Prize Picks also. Yes, download Prize Picks and download the code Texans. And this is the way. This is the way to make shitty 18 to 15 games fun. Take less than on every offensive stat and then watch the money roll into your account, man. That's how you make it a whole lot of fun. So we appreciate Prize Picks sponsoring the podcast. Of course, Landry Locker, the Locker Room with Landry Locker, Cody Stutes, Houston Football with Cody Stutes. Collectively, they do an amazing job with SNL. Gentlemen, enjoyed it as always. All right, there we go. Cody, is this where you end stream?